Hey guys, welcome back with another video of JavaScript. Hopefully you learned a lot in the last video and you didn't have any problems with it. In case you have any questions from the last video, you can message us on Discord, link below, and we will reach out to you and answer your questions. In this video, we're going to be learning about some plugins for JavaScript in vscode and learn about its basics until we reach the advanced level. Let's do this. The first thing you will be learning is the extensions in vscode. The first one is called ESLint. We're going to be installing them first, and I'm going to talk about its usefulness later on. The second one is called Live Server. It allows you to get a quick export of what you're doing without needing to open the file every single time. The next extension is called Prettier Code Formatter. It allows you to code very uniformly and organized, and when you're organized, you have less and less bugs and problems while coding. So in the last episode, I taught you how to create a JavaScript file.
Let me tell you how this is gonna work. You ain't gonna tell me shit. Listen. Suck my Shut up. Listen to me. Suck my you man. Listen. Suck my You will be here in the court on Monday. You'll be here sucking my
As a review, you have to create an HTML first, so that any changes we make in the JavaScript, it appears in that HTML file. For the basic codes of HTML, you can type doc or HTML, and the basic structure of it will appear on your screen. For script, I told you can use the script tag right here, and you can give it a link using src, but without creating that JavaScript file, you can't really link anything to it. Now, in order to link it, you put a dot so that the program understands it is in the same folder right here, and then it will just pop up the files that are already in the same folder, and we can easily link them by clicking on it. We open the JavaScript file. If you've seen how walkie-talkies work, for example with the police, or firefighters, they usually say a word and they say out in the end. They say copy out, or they say many things and out. So here in the JavaScript, this semicolon that we put at the end, for example console.log, and then we put semicolon right here, is like that out when we say in the walkie-talkie. And every line of code that we write and we put semicolon in the end, that's a phrase. So each line of code ended with a semicolon is a phrase. Another thing that we'll be learning is the variables. In each different coding language, we have different variables. Unlike other coding languages, in JavaScript, we don't have to identify those variables because JavaScript automatically identifies those variables. But what is a variable anyways? Imagine you want to drink water, so you have an input and an output.
I am under the water. Please help me. Here too much raining.
Your water that's coming from the faucet is your input, and when you pour it in the glass and you drink it is your output. So your glass of water or bottle of water is actually your variable because it's changing, and you can put any amount you want inside that bottle or glass of water. For example, in JavaScript, we can use var or var and then put that name ended with semicolon, and that's a phrase by itself. Or we can use const. We do the same thing and we end it with semicolon. Or we can use let. In this episode, we're going to be focusing on var more, but in the next episodes, we're going to learn about the two other variables as well. For example, I have given the name for the variable, and now we let name equal 1. Now JavaScript automatically identifies what kind of variable is name. Now, in order for you to check what kind of variable you're using, you can use console.log, and in the parentheses type type of and then with a space, the name of the variable, which here is name. And remember to end it with semicolon. Now, in order to see it, we click on the HTML file, we right click on it, and click on open with live server. We can actually see what's happening with this code. Once your browser opens and click on inspect then console, we can see that JavaScript identified that as a number. You might be thinking, so now in order to identify different variables, each time I have to type where every single time in different lines to identify different variables. But that's not the case. You can use a colon and add to that variable in the same tagline of where before the semicolon. And in order to check if they are actually created, we can go to the next line, type it, and we can see it right here, and right here. So our name was a number. Now we want to identify pixel as a string. Now a string is any type of text-based data. So here we use again console.log, type of, and we put pixel. Now we go back to the console in our Chrome browser and we see that it's identified as a string. Another type of variable is boolean. Boolean is made of true or false. So for example, imagine these all scenarios have to be true in order to action to happen. So you say if the weather is good, true. If my friends are coming, true. And then if the food is ready, true, I'm going out today. Another thing that you have to remember in JavaScript, space doesn't make any difference. So if I add space here, here, and here, it's gonna jump over the space. So it's gonna read name first and then jump over the space, go to pixel, over the space to all, and then to ERT. But where does it take an action or make a difference when we put a space in between the double quotations? Because these double quotations are actually the amount of data that we're giving to that variable. So for example, I'm gonna add space between each letter of pixel, and as you see here in the console, spaces are gonna show up. In order to write any text, we can use console.log as we already showed you, but there's other ways too. The second way is document.write. The difference is that document.write actually prints it to the main page, not the console. So the console.log actually prints it to the console of the website, but document.write, it prints it to the screen. The third one is called window.alert. So for example, I'm gonna put in quotations, please log into site. And when we go back to the Chrome browser, we're gonna see it as an alert popping up on our screen saying please log into site. So again, as a review, console.log, it shows it in our console. Document.write, it shows it on our screen or the main page of the website. And window.alert, it shows it as an alert message when you load the website. Another thing that we're gonna learn is double slash, and what it does, it basically turns that line of code into a comment. Comments are made for humans and not for computers, so your computer is gonna skip that part and actually not read that line of code. So now we understood how commenting works and what it does. So now I'm gonna convert everything except variables into comments. Same with console.log. And we're gonna see that nothing is gonna show up. And as you see, the P that I had on my screen disappeared. The next thing I'm gonna show you is how to do mathematical expressions such as addition, multiplication, subtraction, and division. So for instance, I'm gonna create the variables A, B, and C, just like mathematics in your high school. So I'm gonna let C equal A plus B. So as you can see, we have some undefined variables. 0 plus 0 equals 0. Now I'm gonna define them and let A equal 10 and B equal 12. my C should equal 22. Why? Because we have a cup equals 10 and another cup equals 12. They're gonna equal 22. Now I'm gonna use document.write and C in the parentheses to have the C as an output. And we see that 22 is printed to the screen. For the next one, I'm gonna let C equal A minus B and ask the program to print it out for me. Remember, you have to convert the previous lines into comments or your code won't run correctly. Now let's do C equal A times B and turn the previous ones into comments. So now we see 10 times 12 is 120. For the next one, we do A divided by B. That we use slash as division. Again, we turn the previous one into comments so the program doesn't read it, and we're gonna see that we're gonna get a decimal point. The last thing I'm gonna show you is how to get remainders of a division. And for that, we use the percentage sign. Just like always, we turn the previous lines into comments, and we see that the remainder is 2. We can use remainder in different situations. It's not just for division. It can be a couple of times these two numbers multiplied by each other, and we're gonna see how the remainder is different from the initial number and do such actions later on. I think it's enough for this lesson and hope you learned a lot. Remember to practice this coding, and till next video, peace out.